Dresser and nightstand was dropped off at my house by a customer who had recently inherited it from her father-in-law who passed away. She wanted to spruce it up and give it to her daughter who had a Harry Potter themed room, and judging by the customer's face, I would say I nailed it. So let's get into it. The piece had significant damage to the veneer, so I peeled off what was needed, slapped on some Bondo because that was going to be better than using wood filler, and then I got everything sanded down smooth with my orbital with an 80, then a 180 grit sanding pad. The customer and I decided we would swap out the hardware, so I removed those pulls, filled the hardware holes with more Bondo, and then I sanded that down as well. The base needed just a little TLC, so I grabbed my nail gun, I secured everything back into place, and I used more Bondo to fill those holes, and I sanded everything smooth. Now my son usually helps with this part, but he has been tied up with basketball, so I had to clean. This part right here is so crucial. Do not forget the bottom. It is so embarrassing if your customer comes to load and there are spider webs at the bottom, so make sure you hit the bottom. These drawer slides were loose, so I applied wood glue and nailed them into place. The missing two I'll be tackling later. The dresser body got primed. I finished scuff sanding the drawers, and then I moved on to scuff sanding the body. These sanding blocks can really be a game changer for your projects, as is this wood filler. Once you prime, you can see all those nicks and dings that you may have missed. So this wood filler, you could just wipe on and wipe off. It's supposed to be a no sand solution. I do still sand. It's just not as intense as the first go round. I caulked any area that looked like this so the paint job would look more seamless. And speaking of paint, I used Bear's Dynasty in black. This is my favorite black right now. I do water it down just a little bit. It's a 1-coat coverage, but I always do 2 light coats. And I know you can tint your primer. I could, I should, but I didn't, and I still got these beautiful results. The paint plus the prep just make for a wonderful combination. I hand painted the drawer edges, and then I installed my hardware. Now this part stresses me out because I cannot stand uneven hardware. Now my hardware jig is handy, but I still do this before sealing my piece just in case I mess up. It's an easier fix. Now when applying poly, I like to spray it, and I like to turn my nozzle down low. Light coats, lots of light coats. That's the key. Once that dried, I could add the hardware, and I found some wallpaper that went with our mature Harry Potter theme, so I installed that to the drawers. Now about these 2 drawer slides. So one was completely detached and one was just missing. I needed to replicate the one that I had to replace the one that was missing. So using a scrap piece of wood and my miter saw, I was able to cut the scrap to the length that I needed, but the next part was kind of tricky because I don't have a table saw, so I had to improvise. But instead, I was able to use my oscillating tool to mimic the width, height, and those little grooves on the ends of the original slide. This looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. And that only took me like 8 minutes to do. So this goes to show you do not need every tool in the hardware store to get started. I don't even have all of the essentials, but we just gonna fake it till we make it. We gonna grow as we go. However, I do hope to get a table saw soon. That is next on my list. I think I've proven to myself that I'm ready to elevate up to the next big girl tool. Moving on, I got those drawer slides greased up with my Big Mama's butter. This stuff nourishes the wood, but it also just smells so good. Then I noticed one of the drawers was having trouble closing, and that's because it was missing some drawer glides, but I keep those on deck, so that was no problem. I just popped them right in and it was good to go. I applied my Big Mama's butter to the outside of that top drawer for a little razzle dazzle, and then I prepared my sample paint goodie bag that I give with every piece of furniture I sell. If you plan on selling furniture, you should absolutely be providing these to your customers. It's a nice special touch, and it's just a great way to stand out from the crowd. I gave the piece one last quick cleaning before finishing it off with my stamp of approval. Now remember, she started off here, and now here she is polished and standing proud. The customer said she wanted a masculine look, and she referenced these old projects I did. So basically, coming up with the design was pretty much her. I just had to execute and deliver, so Jay helped me get it ready to show, and as soon as she got there, her response said everything I needed to know. And I was so relieved because custom projects actually make me quite nervous. That's just something I need to shake. So usually Jay and I will get this wrapped up and loaded for the customer, but these lovely people said they were good.
I love it.
So that dated piece of furniture you've been contemplating throwing out, don't do it. Just have fun, customize it to reflect your own personal vibe.
You can't.